On the top of this peaceful mountain in the wilderness lies what's left of a massive aviation accident. For over 70 years, it has been left completely preserved. Join me today as we find out what happened here and what was left behind. The climb up this mountain isn't exactly the easiest. It took us around an hour hiking up steep grades and rocky terrain. Ultimately, the climb would bring us up around 145 meters, or around 475 feet, reaching the peak at around 230 meters, or around 780 feet. That's an elevation that would prove to be deadly, but I'll get into that later. As we continued to ascend the mountain, we knew we were getting close to our destination by the fragments of airplane beginning to litter the path.
For once, this isn't a Bright Sun Films video where I'm in some decrepit, awful structure. There's actually people here. This is a fully public place. I'm not alone. It's kind of nice.
Upon reaching the top of the mountain, I'd first encounter a small part of the left wing. The B-36 Peacemaker was first produced following World War II in 1946 by the now defunct aircraft manufacturer Convair. The aircraft was meant to be the United States Air Force's primary aircraft for nuclear weapon delivery, and was as such outfitted with a ton of power. The Peacemaker would be propelled by 6 piston engines and another 4 jet engines, giving the super bomber a massive profile. In fact, it became the largest mass-produced piston-engine aircraft ever made. With a very capable payload and impressive performance characteristics, the aircraft was the jewel of the US Air Force. What we're looking at right now is just a fraction of the overall wingspan of this colossal aircraft. A wingspan that fully across would measure in at around 230 feet, longer than a Boeing 747-8. Of the 384 aircraft that were produced, only 10 would see significant accidents. This one, of course, being one of them.
This is super interesting. Look how light this is. It's hard to fully get this across camera, but this is so flimsy. You know? It's just incredible how lightweight this was constructed. These flaps are so cool though. Look at the construction on them. That's a full engine. I don't know a ton about engines. Certainly not of this era, but I know enough to know that this is a massive piece of machinery to turn that turbine, that prop. There were 6 of these. The main crash is behind me right now. You can see just down this mountain, every little bit, there's just some pieces of metal, shiny pieces of what I imagine is aluminum. It's everywhere you look over here. There's like pieces of, leather. They're just tiny little bits. Like just so seemingly insignificant pieces of metal. Oh my God. This is insane.
This is the tail section of the aircraft, the largest piece of wreckage that's still left. This aircraft was a little different than the regular B-36. This was an RB-36, a special variant outfitted for strategic reconnaissance. These were designed for high-altitude photography and stealth. In fact, it was in 1953 when a training test was being conducted to gauge just how stealthy they really were. On the evening of March 17, 1953, this aircraft took off from Terceira Island in the Azores, bound for the Rapid City Air Force Base in South Dakota. To test its stealth capabilities and train its crew though, for most of its flight, this aircraft would maintain just 500 feet, well below radar. Once the aircraft neared US mainland, they would then climb to an altitude of 40,000 feet. To ensure that the aircraft would remain undetected, and to make this even more challenging, they would also not use any electronic navigation equipment and would instead rely on sextants and weather reports to navigate. This was a cloudy evening though, and navigating by stars was nearly impossible. The crew of 23 on board had expected to reach North America over the state of Maine. However, due to unexpected high winds, they were forced to fly further north. Conditions continued to worsen though, and as the aircraft flew through thick, low-lying fog, the crew on board had no idea where their aircraft was in relation to nearby land. With no exterior visibility and a completely disoriented crew, the Peacemaker slammed into this mountainside at around 800 feet, causing a massive explosion and killing all 23 men on board.
This thing is huge. This is the vertical stabilizer. This whole construction, that piece that went up that and then came back like that. If that made any sense to anyone. And it looks like it went much higher than that by a considerable amount. That of course attached to the primary fuselage, which would have been all of this, but this whole tail section has been completely ripped apart. That's creepy. I don't really think there's much in here necessarily, but I'll go in anyway. Wow, look at that. Oh my god. I think that's a gunner position at the back of it. I think that was the seat for it's probably on a gyroscope of some sort. That is so cool. It's hard to tell what all this is. I can't tell if this was part of the wing or part of the horizontal stabilizer maybe. The whole construction for this, like look how thick the horizontal stabilizer is. It's just an enormous piece of machinery. Just getting around is treacherous, to say the least. This metal is slippery. And I guess these sections here, this is the actual fuselage here. I think, with the cutout for the windows. Or whatever it is. I mean, these are massive, massive panels. Look at this. There's just a little valley in here on the top of this mountain. Oh yeah, here you could actually kind of see how large this horizontal stabilizer was.
Following the crash in the early hours of the morning, various locals who had heard and saw the fireball trekked up the mountain to try and rescue any survivors. Meanwhile, the United States Air Force dispatched a B-29 to try and search for the missing plane. However, unbelievably, that aircraft, with its own crew of 10, also went missing. While the B-36 was later discovered by other aircraft, aided by the locals who risked their own lives to find the crash site, the search and rescue B-29's wreckage or crew members were never found.
No idea what this would have been here. This is a massive piece of the structure. I don't have any clue. I'm sure all you vintage warplane fanatics will give me some ideas of what I'm looking at here in the comments. Oh my god, this just keeps on going. Look at all this. Oh wow, this is insane. This is actually insane. This is the propeller. Look how big this is. Oh, this is weird. This is now just like a thick forest that just happens to have airplane parts scattered around it. Anything else interesting back there, Em?
Yeah.
Really?
This keeps going forever.
What's back there?
I don't want to tell you, I just want you to see it.
All right.
This goes like all the way down the mountain. Like there's pieces everywhere.
Oh my god.
But Jake, there's something over here that's going to, like you're going to mind.
Really?
I think this is like the cockpit area.
Whoa! Oh, wow. What's that?
Keep going.
Gear? Oh my god, it is gear. Holy crap. Look how big this is. This is hard to like visualize how big this is. So this is Emmy.
So I look all sweaty.
That's Emmy, and then that's the landing gear strut and gear.
And when I was saying it keeps going down, that little path down there, there's like another piece of the wing, like all the way down.
What, down the mountain?
Yeah, come here.
Yeah, just right there. Oh my god, look at that. Yeah, you know what? I think this was part of the dome. I'm not sure if this was like fully the cockpit, but... Oh, and that kind of... If anyone knows, maybe my theory is wrong here. That looks like an extinguisher handle position.
As I walk around such devastation and carnage around me, I surprisingly felt a sense of peace and stillness. Once it was just us left on top of the mountain, all you can hear is the crisp Newfoundland air whistling through the trees and the occasional creaking from the aluminum wreckage. You get this unique atmosphere of the remoteness and isolation this site has been left in, a reason why this debris was never removed. It's just too remote. So everything that has been left here is a very brutal reminder of what happened. Only a small memorial was erected at the tallest point of the mountain here in 2003, championed by locals who felt it their duty to give some sort of permanent remembrance of those who died. It's here where Emmy and I stood and took in our surroundings, a pretty incredible silence with truly spectacular vistas. Finally, the dwindling light meant it was now time for us to begin our trek down the mountain. This really is one of the most incredible and beautiful abandoned places I have ever been, and one I will likely never forget. My name is Jake, and thanks for watching.